Hi everybody, Matthew here, CanadianRenegade.com. Today I'm just going to try catching you up on a portion of the build that we don't have a lot of video of. There was some of it that we had some video of and we lost it. I don't know where it went, but we do have some pictures, so I'm going to try to go through the slideshow and just kind of go through some of the details that we don't have on video. So this first picture here is the shower before we put on the shower surround. What we did was, I didn't want to use aquaboard, which is quite heavy and also brittle like drywall is. So I used coroplast to line the sides of the shower, and basically we're going to go over that with the tub surround or shower surround. So here I'm just doing a test with the coroplast and protecto wrap, which is lining the inside of the shower. I just want to make sure that the shower surround glue that we're using is going to adhere to both of those surfaces, and it does adhere pretty well, but we have had a couple of issues with parts of the shower surround coming loose. Not terribly badly, but just in a couple of small areas. But I think it has more to do with temperature fluctuations. When I installed the shower surround, it was fairly cool, and since then we've had some pretty erratic temperature swings, so it might have more to do with that than a problem with the glue. Here I am test fitting one of the corner pieces. I had to trim all the pieces of the shower surround because the roof inside the bathroom is shorter than a regular bathroom. So that was a bit of a pain, but it worked. The shower surround is pretty much complete in this photo. You can also see that the taps and the shower head have been installed. It's a little bit further along in the build, but it's the only complete picture I had. This is our bathroom vanity. We got it at IKEA and it's pretty nice. One problem that we have with it is the sink itself. It has a very shallow slope to it, or I guess like not much of a slope in the bottom, and we have to wash it fairly frequently because stuff doesn't drain away very well. But otherwise we really like the width of that sink. This is behind our washer dryer combo. There's both the plug-in that we're going to plug it into and the exhaust vent for the dryer, and then the second photo here is the vent hole in the wall that we put in with a hole saw, and then we just connected it using regular dryer vent, 4-inch dryer vent. So this is another one of those experimental things that is kind of a work in progress. This is the bathroom exhaust fan. I made it out of foam board that I glued and taped together, and for the fan my original idea was to use a computer fan, and so I sized it to a computer fan, and it turned out that the computer fan wasn't quite powerful enough. So since then I've replaced the fan, and the new fan works very well, but it's quite loud. But I do have a couple of ideas to quiet it down a bit, so hopefully that's something that I can fix in the future. And the last picture here is just the exhaust on the wall with the outside damper next to the window. So that's where the outside of that fan comes through. So on to another part of the house. This is an IKEA shelving unit that we're using as a bedroom dresser. My dad and I are just fitting it into place here, and this is about where it is now that the build is complete, although in that picture we're just fitting it. The final picture is right after we moved in, when we've got our clothes in there, and the back of the shelving unit we finished with cedar, and you'll get to see that later in some of the other videos. This is our closet roughly framed in. As I mentioned in a past video, that was the idea of having the electrical panels along that wall, was to put them inside the closet. And also later on you'll get to see a bit more with that closet, but I just didn't want to skip over that. It was something we had to frame in after we put in the pine paneling, but I just didn't want to skip over it, so I thought I'd mention it. Okay, so on to the kitchen. This is a refrigerator that we're using. It's made by a company called Unique, and it's both propane and 110 AC, and it has, I think it's an 8 cubic foot model, and it's not bad. It'd be nice to have something just a little bit bigger, but we can get an entire week's worth of food, and we eat a lot of food, so it's not too bad. It definitely works, and it does have a 2 cubic foot freezer up top as well. On the back of the refrigerator, that large silver cylinder is the burner for the propane. And as far as I can tell, the refrigerator's cooling mechanism works the same whether you're on AC power or propane. It's just that the heat source that runs the refrigerator is either electric or propane. And we have tested the propane and it does work very well, but currently we're running it on AC power. This is our propane range. It's also by Unique, and it's 24 inches wide. Regular typical range in a house is usually about 30, so it's a little bit smaller, but it's still bigger than an RV range would be, and we're pretty happy with it. We've been using it for 6 months now and it's been performing pretty well. We bought our kitchen cabinets and countertops at Lowe's, and they're all just off the shelf stuff, although the selection at Lowe's may have changed by now. It was fairly easy to pick the cabinets that we wanted. Because our kitchen is about 8 feet long, we basically just went with standard size stuff, and the appliances as well were approximately 2 feet wide each, so everything just kind of fit pretty well. It actually was not something that I planned, but it did work out pretty good. Okay, and now so I'm going to switch back to a live video and talk about installing some of the plumbing under the kitchen counter now that I've caught everybody up. Hey everyone, I just want to do a short video on how we're putting in our plumbing drains. So basically we didn't know exactly where everything was going to be ahead of time, so we were just going to have to basically drill through the floor. And this is probably the hardest one, but I'll kind of explain what we're doing here, because with this one we also have about 4 or 5 inches for the cupboard base. So I made a fairly large hole there. I was drilling some pilot holes. You can see this this bit here. I actually had to put an extension on it because it didn't. I wasn't able to go all the way. But I basically started off with the pilot hole, and then so now I have a hole underneath that I can follow back up with the hole saws. So I cut out that hole with a fairly large hole saw. It's probably about 4 inches, and then now I'm going to use this hole saw here. This is about probably 2 inches or so, maybe 2.5, and I'm going to make a hole for the 1.5 inch ABS pipe that's going to go through there. And basically now with this in here like this, can maybe only go in about 4 inches, and our floor is about 8.5 inches thick. So I'm also going to need an extension for that, but I couldn't find anything that would like a proper extension for that. I do know that there are ones that have like basically a little chuck that kind of clips on there, but I couldn't find one. So right now I'm just using I think, what does it say? It's a 9mm socket and an extension for, this is like for a ratchet, and that just fits in there, and it doesn't what do you call it, doesn't hold it in very good, so I can only do this from underneath where the weight of the bit keeps it together. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to finish drilling that hole and then put a piece of pipe through there for the drain. Once the pipe's in, I spray foam all the way around it, and once the spray foam dries, then it's secure and I can just leave it and connect the rest of the plumbing to it. We basically decided to just have the drains go straight out, and we're going to connect them under the house. And basically we just have the gray water coming out of the house. We're going to have a composting toilet for what would be the black water. But that's about it for this, and I'll catch you on another video.